Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now I'm back again with another video in my final build series. Well, this is the Griffin. The Griffin is a mid-tier frigate. Now it has 2 high slots, 2 mid slots and 2 low slots. The massive advantage with this vessel compared to the beginners is the fact that it has 2 engineering grade slots. Now besides this here, it comes with a number of other set advantages that I have yet to tell you. It has an advantage to its mid slots in the form of disruption strength, guidance disruption strength, and it also has advantages when it comes to small missiles or torpedo damage and small missiles or torpedo flight time. Now that means that it can extend the range at which you can shoot, and it also will do increased amounts of damage. So that gives you slight edges when it comes to this vessel. They aren't massive enough to make a huge difference down the line. They're going to be very similar to ships like the Condor in the higher class vessels. And the one thing that this ship does definitely have for it is the fact that it uses guidance disruptors. That means the ideal place to use it is in T1 to 5 battles against Caldari space. Do not try to take it in T6. T6 enters battleships, and if you take it on against the entry-level battle cruiser, you may be in for a bigger fight than you expected. Taking it on against cruisers is a okay situation. You may have a very long fight on your hands, but it will not be an instant slaughter like it would be if you get caught and hit by a bigger vessel. Remember, small ships do have a tendency to run disruption weapons, and if they web you and disrupt you, you may lose all your speed from a micro warp drive. They are very efficient at regenerating energy, so that is one of the things that you should know about these frigates. If you have the right amount of research, it can basically run non-stop on a micro warp drive or a shield regeneration. That will keep you at very good rates against enemies, and will make it almost impossible for your ship to go down with a quick volley from an enemy assault. Now, the place where this here will shine in PvE is going to be when you're fighting against those low level ships. So for outfitting this vessel in particular, let's go through what you should put on for your particular combat. Considering its small size, it doesn't need to stop any enemies, so you will see me changing a little bit of what goes on to the mid slots for this vessel. The missile launches in this case can be large ranged missile launches. As you can see, if I'm correct, type B is all that is available in official. This is on the test server. Go with your highest level of availability. Right, as you can see, it has a very low usage on the grid of 8 megawatts. Now with advanced research, this does come down. 2 of them will use 16 out of its 48 megawatts, plus that megawatt count is up beyond that point. You don't really have to stress too much on this point. This is going to give you that perfect balance of firepower. As you can see, it does 27.27 DPS. This here will increase with the bonuses from the ship, and 8 times 5 is 40%, so it will take on a 40% increase. That is basically 1/3 of this to the increase, so 36 DPS per second, and it really does fire quite quickly, so you will get quite a lot of damage applied. Please be warned that using this vessel in combat is still a high risk to you, because if you use it inefficiently, you will get destroyed. Remember, it only does in the hundreds of DPS for the 10 seconds delay between each firing shot, so please be careful about not applying enough damage to higher end vessels. Make sure you take out the small vessels so that you can keep moving fast enough to stay out of range of the others. Okay, moving on to the next thing for this particular slot on the ship will be your mid slots. Now the reason why I didn't go with torpedoes for this vessel is quite simple. Torpedoes have a high fire rate but require you to be unbelievably close, and as I said, you need to make sure that you don't get caught by other ships in the same class as you. So that little 20 kilometer to 22 kilometer mark for your long range missile in the small class is perfect for you to actually tick off the damage and destroy your ship without taking too much of a risk. Okay, moving on to the mid slots. Now, considering that you don't have to stop vessels, you don't need to use a Weber fire. However, this does have a guidance disruptor advantage, and something like a warp disruptor, a warp scrambler would definitely be efficient for you to use. I just want to see something. As you can see, the power usage on it is quite low. With 2 8s, you have 16, add 7 to it, you are all the way up to 23 megawatts out of 48 megawatts. 23 is just around half. You could use one of these big systems, or you could obviously go to exactly where I'm about to point you. Moment. In the form of guidance disruptors. Your highest level guidance disruptor will be usable. As you can see, 1 megawatt cost. You can use a double of this and your power usage will give you way more than you need on your grid. Or you could pair it up with a warp scrambler and take out the speed of any fast vessels that do get too close and too aggressive with you. It will give you the edge against some of them because some of them are really annoying in that close range situation. You could always swap out for a afterburner instead of a micro warp drive, which is far more efficient on your energy and will allow you to stay in combat for a far longer period of time. Okay, so with those two, we are done with the first two slots. Then it's going to come to the low slot. Now, considering that it is a small ship, resistance isn't really going to be a big boost. When it comes to shield, you definitely want to have a booster. Now, your small shield boosters are going to be usable. As I said, type B is, as far as I know, the highest that you can achieve. It's 6 megawatts. Now, 6 megawatts out of the remaining 24 leave you with a total of 18 megawatts for the last slot. And as I said, speed is your ally for this vessel. If you can keep it as fast as possible, it is definitely going to help you. A type B booster, as you can see, is 16 megawatts. That leaves you exactly at 22 megawatts. If you went with the warp scrambler, you still have enough additional capacitor on your ship to pair this up, and you still have addition on top of it because of the fact that you haven't completed all, with the research added, because you have the addition of that to your firepower. All the things that you should note for a danger is this ship, although very fast, isn't very efficient at destroying other vessels. So you can use the speed to keep the damage very low, and if you take shots from anything that is slowing you down slightly, it may really hurt you very quickly. Remember, you don't have a massive amount of health. Your health might be pulled up to somewhere near the 1500 mark. So any big weapon, if it does connect to you, can instantly destroy your shield and armor. Remember, you don't have high resistance in the form of a resistance module, so please be careful for that. Okay, in terms of combat rigs, you have 2 combat rigs and 2 lower section engineering rigs. This is all that I can say. You want as much speed as possible on this vessel, so anything to get you faster will definitely help you in terms of engineering. Let me just see, where's this one? Right, here we go. Auxiliary thruster 4, 25% additional boost to your speed. Double them. It gives you a massive boost to your speed. You don't really have to worry about the small items that are draining on your capacitor. They will not be too big of a problem. When it comes to the ship, you want to be fast and you want to hit hard, because the faster you can apply damage, the faster you can get done with combat. Now let's go to the combat rigs for your weapons. You're going straight to missiles, so this isn't going to be too difficult. Let me open this particular class. Now there are only 2 modules that you can fit on this, so it's quite simple what you want to do. You want to either fire faster or you want to fire harder. Now if you fire faster, you increase the damage that is applied with every single shot. Your DPS skyrockets almost instantly. So if you double that speed of firing, you do get a... No, that's not the right one. That is for taking on small and fast vessels. Warhead calefaction is one of the options you can go with. This applied double is going to put on a massive amount of damage. And when this big amount of damage is added, it does definitely give you a bonus to your overall impact. Now, here is where the catch comes in. You could always pair one warhead calefaction with a hydraulic bay loading accelerator. And with this here, you have a faster firing time and you have a higher damage. So that massive damage output that you have put in of 20% will be increased even further. The 20% increase will go directly into DPS. As you can see, it is around 27, plus your research is going to push it up to almost an addition of about 50%. That's going to pull you up all the way into the early 40s, 41 or 42. Add 20% to that. 20% of 40 would be 8, so you're going to be around 48. Reduce the time on that firing, and all of a sudden you just go about 50 DPS per second, and that's only with 2 weapons. So obviously that's over 100 DPS per second on your vessel. Gives you a nice solid firing rate. You can definitely use it to break the enemy line. You may see a repeat of this build on another vessel. That is purely because they are very similar, and I generally don't like going through every single one, because sometimes you don't want to think of the odd one as your usage. Remember, this wasn't made for a PvP situation. If it was for PvP, I would definitely have put a stasis web of fire and the warp scrambler instead of going with the guidance disruptor. This is a ship to be used in Caldari space. If you decide to change out that fitting, remember, you don't get the bonus from the vessel, and the bonus is the reason why I use the guidance disruptor, because this will interfere with missiles that come at you. Caldari does use some railguns, so be very careful about those vessels. If you decide to pass the level 5 mark, remember in level 6, if you get caught in anything close range, they will really do quick damage to you. Okay, so that was it for this build. I know it is a very quick build, but I hope that you all do enjoy, and I will catch you all in the next one. So see you all then.